Welcome to the Dark Side of Beast Rider. I'm your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we're going to be breaking down a lot of stuff today. We're going to break down the game grades from Week 15 against the New England Patriots. I graded every single snap. I got you covered, so I went ahead, watched film. Actually, this game, I probably would like to say I spent double the amount of time watching the film on this one as opposed to other weeks, just because I had a little bit more time and wiggle room to work with. So I did that. Also, I'm going to break down today's injury report as it pertains to Week 16 and also give you the locker room pulse. As you guys know, my 9 to 5 is working inside Raiders headquarters and being there and being your eyes and ears. So the chance that we get and the opportunities that we have really when we go inside that locker room is I like to give you guys some kind of insight on exactly what's going on because, you know, you guys aren't there. I am. So it's my job to give you guys the skinny on what's going on from Raiders headquarters in lovely Henderson, Nevada. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're not going to waste any more time. I do want to say thank you to each and every one of you for subscribing to the channel. We just hit 4,700 subscribers and that's big news. I mean, we're growing at the pace that I would like us to grow. And there's a lot of good things that are coming with that. One of them being we're coming out with DOB merchandise. So a lot of cool stuff. A lot of really cool swag and merch that's coming out. You guys can purchase that from the team store that I'm going to be launching here, or you can directly win that just for subscribing to the YouTube channel or following me on Instagram and all the other respective social media platforms. So no matter if you're watching on Facebook Live right now, whether it be Twitter, whether it be YouTube, in the description box here on YouTube, you'll see all my social media listed below. So you're going to want to follow me on all those respective platforms to stay up to date on all things Beast in real time, because I may post on YouTube that I may not post on Instagram, that I may not post on Twitter or Facebook. So you guys get the vibe here. So again, follow me on all those respective platforms that you're already on anyways. And that way you'll be entered to win that many more times, because look, if you have 4 different accounts, and you're on all social media platforms and you engage with me, obviously I'm going to see that because I respond to every single comment. I like every single comment, and that's how I do it here in the DOB. So again, thank you so much. And if for everyone that does that, you guys get DOB giveaway swag. So again, all the super chats and all the super stickers I've been getting, obviously I want to save some money so I can go on a road trip and do all that. But aside from that, I like to give back to the people who make me who I am, and that's all of you guys. So we are doing really cool stuff here in the DOB. We are giving away Raider Nation rally towels, which I purchased at the team store. All right, so we're giving away these. And by the way, happy holidays to everyone. Were you celebrating whatever you celebrate? It's all good. Let's see what else we're getting. Yeah, we have so much stuff. Okay, we get Max Crosby. Look at it. We got Max Crosby socks, all official. Devontae Adams socks. Who doesn't want these? Are $20 a piece, by the way. This isn't cheap. In fact, I don't even wear $20 socks myself, but I'm giving them away. Like, who does that? Like, now that I'm thinking about it, I should just keep it for myself. I'm joking. I'm gonna give them to you, but no, I literally, if you guys know me, $20 socks ain't my vibe, but I'll do it for you guys. So this is what we're giving away just for following me on social media, right? There has to be some incentive for you guys to come in and do what you guys got to do. And because you guys can follow anyone you want. Why follow me? Well, we run giveaways, and I've been doing this. Waruna, how are you doing? And Waruna would know. He was, during COVID, he was one of our DOB giveaway winners, and actually met Waruna, actually went to his house. And long story short, I'm not joking. We met up, and we met on, like, literally, I'm not that guy that's scared, like, of meeting up with people. Like, I'm not, like, that's just who I am. Like, maybe one day I'll get kidnapped. I don't know, but I should knock on wood because you don't know how that's going to go. But anyway, I'm not scared. We're giving away these right here. These are insulated, I wouldn't say cup holders, but the insulated can and bottle holders. So basically what it does is it keeps your drinks nice and cold. So beer, alcohol, soda, soft drinks, whatever the case may be, these are really good for tailgating. So if you're tailgating in parking lot J, if you're tailgating in parking lot, what are the hype ones that you guys are? Parking lot J is the one that I'm supposed to go out to on the next Raider tailgate, which I am going to go to. Parking lot J is just right into the media entrance. So I'm really excited to hang out with the people at Parking Lot J, the Raider Nation. Look, Wendy was telling me to go out there earlier in the year. I have not done it, so I'm gonna make Levi Stadium. I'm gonna make the Niner game my first time over at Parking Lot J. Not gonna drink, obviously, because I'm working and I don't drink anyways. But I will be meeting and greeting all you guys that you guys wanted to kind of see, kind of wanted to meet me, and I think that's kills multiple birds with one stone when you can go ahead, and since we're at the same venue anyway. So I'll be over at Parking Lot J pregame, not pre-gaming obviously, but during the pregame before going into the press box and then getting my work in and then being on the field. Also, if you guys are going to the game, I'll also be in the black hole. And the black hole, I got to tell you guys, man, the black hole is legit in a positive way. Like I didn't even know it was a black hole. Like literally before the season started, I had no idea what the black hole was. I just so happened to be by the black hole, and it wasn't until like 4 or 5 weeks ago that I noticed it was a black hole. I was like, hey, wait, that's a black hole. People there are great. They're awesome and very classy. You know, I gotta be honest. Like before, I was like, man, I'm not sure about the black hole, but the black hole is legit. Like, and I like the vibe. I like the passion that everyone brings. I met Dark Side Demon. He was over in the black hole before. Who else was there? Gorilla's over there. A lot of people. Who was the other guy? Wayne Mabry. I'm dyslexic, so one of the two. Violator 57. He's always there. I took a picture of him and Gorilla at the last home game. So it's just good vibes, man. And the people there are just people from all different walks of life. We have people, I met a couple from Denver, Colorado. Obviously, you guys know James, who's 14 years old, follows me here in the DOB, had no idea. And it was his birthday last week, and really cool meeting you guys in the DOB. So I get to go know you guys on a personal level, other than just cool story. How are you, Beast Rider? Or how are you, James? You know, and then walk and go about my business. It's all about the face-to-face interaction. And D-Menace would know this. D-Menace met up with D-Menace here on YouTube. We met up in person, met him and Tanya over at the M Resort and Casino. I had my Charles Woodson Pinot Noir. Thank you so much, Dennis. And it was Tanya's birthday. We took a round of shots, and it was all good vibes. And he was obviously a DOB giveaway winner. So, Dennis, how you doing, my guy? Dennis Murdoch is the guy. Always look forward to Dennis's comments. Where it says, Ryan is the first football celebrity which I met in person. I wouldn't call, the funny thing about this is I don't consider myself a celebrity, but then the funny thing about this story about the celebrity, so I was up in the press box, my guy, Keon, KJ was up in the press box, and we were talking about the time, Marina, you probably remember this. I think it was last year. The Rams game. It was the Rams 49er game, and this guy was trying to be me. So I was basically getting catfished. I don't know. The dude did not look like me, my opinion. He wasn't built. He just didn't look like me. Anyways, it's all on social media. It's all on Instagram. We got basically was just trying to get to places like using me as like, oh yeah, I'm the Beast Rider. Like, and then people were taking pictures with the dude, and they didn't know that was me. And I was like, man, that's not me. It finally got back to me. You know how it got back to me was one of my friends who's a Niner fan was friends with the guy that took a picture who thought he was me. Literally, this is on YouTube. This is on YouTube too, because what happened afterwards was my friend's like, dude, that's not Beast Rider. That's not Ryan Sakamoto. That's not Beast Rider. And so he was like, oh man, like I got catfished. I didn't know. So my friend's like, let me link you up with the real Beast Rider. So literally it was like around this time, went on the live stream, and my buddy's like, hey, I'm going to have the guy that really wants to meet you. He's a big supporter of you, and he's a huge Niner fan, and yada, yada, and he wants to meet you. I said, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. And so he came on the show, and then we finally got to meet each other. But yeah, it was just ridiculous. There's only one Beast. That's what I'm saying. There's only one Beast. Just joking. Kind of not though. I mean, like it's really ridiculous though. People trying to be me. I don't know why. And up in the press box at the game, my boy Keon, going back to my boy Keon, talking to him best I remember, is like, yeah, well, you are kind of celebrity. I ain't no celebrity. He's like, no, you kind of are. Like, no. A celebrity to me would be like, bro, like, I don't know. Who would be a good celebrity? I don't know. I don't think we consider, I guess you can say I'm a little I don't know what you would call it. I don't know. I have no idea. But no, Keon firmly believes that, no, man, people I seen at Levi Stadium, people want to take selfies with you and all that. Like, he's like, who does that? Who does that? That's pretty cool. I like it. But no, it's not. It's just about meeting the people, man. So I appreciate that, though, Runa. I really do appreciate that. I remember 49ers Web Zone put me up on their website and said, this is the only beat writer that gets asked to sign autographs and take selfies with people. So yeah, but for whatever it's worth, I just like talking to people, making friends, making family. D-Minus 4200 says, hell yeah, B, see you out there. Oh my gosh, Dennis Murdoch is gonna be in the house. Is Tanya coming? Is Tanya coming to town? If Tanya's coming to town, in fact, let's meet up before the game. We could do that, right? New Year's Eve. I think we can do that. I don't know. I'm staying away from the strip on New Year's Eve, though. I ain't about that. I ain't trying to. It's going to be too crazy. On to 60 says, what up, Beast? What's going on, man? How you doing? My guy, Daniel Kim, says, salute, Ryan. Hope the week has been going well. Daniel, thank you so much for joining in. I have your care package. I'm in the process of making it. In fact, I didn't want to ruin the surprise, but I do want to tell you to sit tight. So I'm going to say, Daniel Kim, for love and support, you've been supporting me through your likes, through your comments, through your engagement, the super chats and stickers. Obviously, that helps out a lot. And again, people don't realize this. This is like my startup, right? Like, this is my business. And like, anytime you start a new business, what's the odds of it coming to fruition and actually being successful? Anyone who wants to break into the industry and wants to do it their own way, you're going to have to, it's a give and take, right? It's not all dandy, right? You're going to be working long hours. For instance, like, I'm not even going home back to the Bay Area. I was talking to my guy, Vic Tafer, about it today. And I say, my family's out in the Bay Area, but I have to stay here because we got the Niners playing. It's all work. Like, people see the glam and the fame or the spotlight and everything, but a lot of that, we kind of what's the word? We kind of internalize a lot of the stuff because, in order to attain those things, you have to give up something. In order to gain something, you have to give up something. You can't have it all. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It just doesn't work that way. And so I love my job. I'm very passionate about it. So yeah, I'm staying here back in the Bay Area for both, obviously, Christmas and New Year's. And that's why I'm able to be at Legion Stadium and also be at Raiders headquarters Monday through Friday. And it's a life decision I decided to make a long time ago. Look, if you're in the NFL media, you can't take days off. There is no days off. If you want to be really good at your job, there isn't. And the work-life balance, I can only speak for myself, but there is no work-life balance. Like, literally, there's no work-life balance. There's work and then there's more work. And people call me a workaholic, but I have that tunnel vision to, like, if I want to accomplish something, I'm going to accomplish it. And nothing's going to stop me from my end goal. And I think that's what got me to the point where I am is, look, like, you're going to have haters. You're going to have people who like you. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you truly believe and put out good work, people are going to find you. And so that's what we're trying to do here in the DOB. That's why I say share all my stuff. Talk to all your family and friends around the holidays, at Christmas parties, at New Year's parties. Why? Because odds are, if they're part of the Raider Nation and they like Raider Nation silver and black content, they're going to like my stuff. Why? Because I provide a fresh perspective. There's a reason why you guys are following me. And again, it's just different. Not better, not worse. It's just different. Like, I have game grades, which we're going to talk about right now. So like I said, I wouldn't be here without you guys in my corner, which is why I run all these giveaways. These giveaways are a small token of my appreciation for all of you guys, because at the end of the day, it's like, look how cool I am. Cool story, bro. But at the end of the day, it's all about you guys. The DOB makes the DOB. It's not Beast Rider. The Beast Rider does not make DOB. It's the DOB family that makes the DOB. Because let's face it, you can't lead a pack of wolves, right? If you don't have a pack behind you. Like, you can't, like, it doesn't work that way. They can't be like, oh yeah, like, it doesn't work that way. No, sorry. Sorry, not sorry, as they would say. But we got some really cool, look at all these people are in here. And look, I respond to every single comment. I think that's what's really cool about the YouTube channel, the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff where I post reels and fitness videos is, look, I like doing this stuff because I like engaging with people here on this platform. And if I'm being 110% honest with you, I talk to you guys more than I talk to my own friends. So, which is every day. Onto 6 Soldier says, Beast, great on the Mac Jones tackle. You've been asking this for like 3 days, and I seen your comments. Look, That tackle by Mac Jones was not easy. But if I was Mac Jones, I would definitely try to go after the ankles. I wouldn't try to go high on a 6'7", 265, 75-pound man. Like, secondly, Chandler Jones has 35.5-inch arm length. All right, so if he gets a stiff arm out, you're tackling air because there's no way that you can wrap up. This is impossible. Like, it's just like someone holding his hand out and you trying to punch him. And it's like, nah, man, it's not working. Like, nah, man, it's not working. Nah, man, it's not working. And then it's game over. Like, sorry. Mac Jones, if I were you, I would try to ankle tackle. I would even try to go high and just kind of live and die by that. That's what I would have done. I wouldn't try to go high on Chandler Jones. He has a 35.5-inch arm. Like, it's probably longer. It's probably 36-inch arms. I talked to Chandler Jones today, man. That guy has a long arm length. Like, he is crazy. He's very lanky. Very lanky, kind of like a Stacey Augman plastic man. Let's talk about the UNLV running Rebels. Daniel Kiss says, salute on to 6. All right. So Sebastian Droper says, good evening. Greetings from San Diego. Let's go Raiders. Beat Pittsburgh. Carr, shut up all the haters. San Diego, I like it. Up to San Diego State. So I know what you're going. I like that. Beat Pittsburgh. Shut up the haters. Look, I think the Raiders are going to beat Pittsburgh. Now, the whole Franco Harris dynamic that I heard on ESPN, and thoughts and prayers go out to the Franco Harris family. But I just don't see the Steelers have enough. And remember, I covered the Pittsburgh Steelers for Sports Illustrated back in 2018, 2019. So I know exactly this Pittsburgh Steelers team. I've been running grades on them just like I grade the Niners and all the other 31 other NFL teams. Terrell Edmonds is having a hamstring injury. I'm not so sure he's going to be playing this week. Unfortunately, it really doesn't matter. I mean, their secondary is depleted to begin with. Remember, there's a reason why the Steelers went after guys like Ahkello Witherspoon and have guys like Arthur Malat there. And obviously, they don't have guys like Mike Hilton anymore. They don't have guys like Joe Hayden anymore. And again, when you run these grades and you kind of do this off the top of your head, and I don't know what's going on with the team as far as the defensive front seven. Defensive front seven is going to be stout. I mean, they have a really, really good defensive front seven. They have DeMarvin Leal, who I thought was a steal. You guys know my grades at DeMarvin Leal coming out of Texas A&M. Thought he was a steal. And obviously they have George Pickens, who you guys know how I feel about George Pickens coming out, aside from the water bottle incident. But yeah, I like George Pickens, number 14. They have Deontay Johnson. You have Pat Freiermuth there. Pat Freiermuth, who I thought was going to be drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the second round, coming out. He thought Muth was a good fit. And then obviously the offensive line. And look, being a fan of the Raider Nation, we just go straight to the offensive line and say, oh, this offensive line is garbage. Da, 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 da. Well, the Steelers isn't that much better. I mean, they have a guy by the name of Kendrick Green who's not even starting. He was a guard center that was drafted out of the Fighting Illini. And now what happened? Well, he's not starting anymore, right? And they had to go bring in other guys off the street. Not I shouldn't say off the street because this guy was a serviceable lineman, but they the starting center, if I'm not mistaken, he was highly coveted by the Pittsburgh Steelers early on. Actually, it was the Arizona Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken, because I believe Bruce Arians and Steve Keim are high on the starting center that they have now. But yeah, I mean, Omar Khan has done a tremendous job kind of solidifying the offensive line. But look, the offensive line is in shambles with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's all I got to say about that. But we're going to go ahead and talk about that. I just want to get to my Week 15 grades because at the end of the day, in order to move on, we have to look and grade the past, right? Kind of doing this as if the coaching, from a coaching perspective, if you will. And the way I like to do this is basically what the Raiders do on a weekly basis. They run the game film. And after the game film, they sit with the players and say, hey, look, okay, they run through the game film. Okay, this is what you need to do on this play. When you do this play, this is what you did good. This is what we need to fix on. Okay, the communication on the back end here, this is what you need to do. And then that's what you guys go through, right? So that's what the players go through in their team meetings when the whole team meetings. And then they kind of work on that in practice, work out the kinks. And then obviously they have to move on, right? So then you take the learning experience that you gained from that game, because you can always learn something in every game, every rep. And then from there, you go into practice and getting ready for the next team, because there's totally two different schemes that you may be playing from one week to the next, and it varies. So that's what you want to look forward to. Now, going from the New England Patriots to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Obviously, there are different schemes and different rules of engagement that apply, but the concept of this upcoming game is smash mouth football. I mean, Najee Harris, obviously big Roll Tide Roll fan, he's going to be able to he's going to get his touches right now. Whether or not they can clog the middle, that remains to be seen. And look, when I run the grades, this is what I saw. All right, so let's talk about Week 15 grades. Let's talk about the teams, and we will go ahead and get started on that. All right, so Week 15 grades. Thank you so much, Daniel Kim. I appreciate you too. All right, SVT Vasquez in the house here on YouTube, also on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much for sharing all my reels. I posted some more reels on Instagram for all you guys. And again, it's at Beast Rider. So if you follow me on Instagram at Beast Rider, holla at your boy. Share all my reels. You'll be entered for weekly DLB giveaways. So even if you don't subscribe or like or whatever the case may be, if you share my reels, if you share my social media, if you share all that stuff and I see it and you tag me in it, boom. I mean, I'll see that instantly. I get notifications just like all of you guys. You know, you check your phone like, oh my gosh, I got XYZ notifications. Like, oh, who is this person? Okay, cool. Then you mark it down. Boom. Okay, boom, boom. SVT Vasquez. He knows I share his stuff. Like literally on my social media platform, share stuff. D Menace knows about it. Daniel Kim knows about it. All you guys on to Six Soldier knows about it. So it's all about good vibes. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the grades. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty on the grades. Bilal Nichols graded at a 5 out of a 10, which is average. He only generated one pressure, resulting in a loss of down, but he was sound in his run fit integrity. So when you kind of take the two grades and mirror the two and then kind of formulate your own algorithm that I like to provide in my grading system, I'm not going to tell you the algorithm, he came out as an average defensive tackle. But in run support, he was a beast. And again, I don't put too much stock in Bilal Nichols not being able to rush the passer. And here's why. He got paid 2 years, $11 million contract. So to warrant that contract, you're looking at a 2-down run stuffer. And again, I graded Bilal Nichols dating back to the Chicago Bears when Ryan Pace was the GM. And again, the Delaware product, in my estimation, go check the Beast Receipts on Twitter as you're watching on YouTube and Facebook and whatever the platform you're on right now. But you will see my Beast Receipts on Bilal Nichols dating back to the Chicago Bears when they had guys like Angelo Blackson, who else did they have back there? They had Roquan Smith at the time. They had number 44. I believe they had Alec Ogletree there. They had some players, naming off Tashawn Gibson. I remember the back end there. They still had Eddie Jackson there. They still had Kyle Fuller, I remember at the time there, before he signed that 1 year, $9.5 million contract, and moved on. But no, there's, how do I remember this stuff? Anyways, a lot of grading, a lot of film study. And again, this is what I do. So Bilal Nichols, grade out of 5 out of 10. Defensive tackle Jerry Tillery, he was basically a non-factor. Talked to my boy Case Kiefer about it. And he was like, hey, man, like, what do you think of Jerry Tillery? And I said, man, like, he really didn't do much last game. In fact, he graded below average. He graded a 6 out of a 10 in my grading system, which is, it's pretty decent, right? Not a Pro Bowl level, but pretty good. But he showed nothing in the pass rush department. And by nothing, I mean, he didn't get one pressure, resulting in a loss of down in my grading system. So Jerry Tillery needs to pick it up. He graded overall at a 3 out of a 10 because he didn't do much. Max Crosby on the flip side of that did a really good job in run fit integrity. Didn't have one missed run fit assignment. Was really sound in basically winning the leverage game at the point of attack and in the backside pursuit. What I saw in this game was Max Crosby was lined up wide, kind of like in the Y9 scheme, which is very different. And again, the rules of engagement up front and the point of emphasis that they're trying to teach vary from one team to the next. And so Coach Graham is really sticking on point when he says, hey, look, we're a multiple man front. We're not just simply a one gap scheme. We're not a two gap scheme. It's on a week to week basis how we're going to run our fronts. And from there, you can really see Max Crosby really shining. And I think Max Crosby, to me, the question was asked by a Niner fan. Obviously, the Niners are coming up here in a little bit, and I'm getting so much heat for it in a good way, I guess. But who's better, Max Crosby or Nick Bosa? And I graded both players, obviously, because I run grades on all 32 teams. And to me, it's a neck and neck type of a dynamic there, because you can't go wrong with either. And that's not me being biased. It's not like one is, oh my gosh, it's Nick Bosa head and shoulders above the rest, right? It's not. It really isn't. And my grading system will reflect that. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about that later on in another live stream as I wrap up week 15 for both the 49ers and the Raiders. But that's what I see there. Max Crosby did a really good job. He didn't show up much in pass rush department, but overall, I thought he did a really good job. He graded out a 7 out of 10. Chandler Jones, to me, was the best defensive front seven in this ball game. And he graded at an 8 out of 10. You saw the fumble returned for a touchdown, that 48-yarder. He also made some sound plays in run fit integrity. And outside of that, he really didn't do too much to hurt himself. Now, he did have one missed run fit assignment in my grading system, but outside of that, he had a very clean game, had a few tackle wins, flush plays back inside to his help from blocks to seal, and seal to box. So he did a really good job in basically what you call holding the point of attack. When you set the edge and set a strong anchor, that's what we're talking about here in the DOB. Sometimes I hear people talking about, like he set a strong anchor. I'm like, well, how do you set a strong anchor from the interior if you're a technique defensive tackle? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Yeah, so you better know what you're talking about, bro. Just saying, people in general, and I see on YouTube and I see on other social media, like they're trying to talk, and it's like, how do you set an anchor if you're playing the 3 or if you're the 0 technique? No, like how do you set the edge? I should say you can set an anchor. How do you set an edge from the 0 technique or the 1 technique? Like what kind of edge is that? Because I want in on that. Daniel Kiss says, I can't wait to actually meet and break some bread together. Hey, man, I can't wait to meet you too, man. I know you're from the Orange County, bro. You got family ties in the Bay Area. But yeah, I'm really excited to meet you and the other DOB here. And all right, so Denzel Parham didn't do so hot in run fit integrity. In fact, he graded that as a -1, but he got saved in the pass coverage, which is kind of, you would see the opposite. You would expect the opposite from a 2-down thumper and my guy, Denzel Parham. I like Denzel Parham. The guy's a beast. I mean, the guy looks like he can just step on stage right now and compete with me. But at the end of the day, he didn't do so hot in run fit integrity. He graded at a -1, but he did do pass coverage, 9.5. So kind of like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde when it comes to Denzel Parham's graded out of 4.25. Luke Masterson did a really nice job, graded every single snap, of course, of Luke Masterson, got the start. What you saw in Luke Masterson's game was, here's a guy that, he kind of gets it, but then again, he has some plays where he needs to be stronger in his run fits. I think that in this game, he did a really good job. There's a play that I can remember that he made, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just run the grades right here. I'm mistaken. I'll look it up right here. Let me pull it up because I ran these grades 2 days ago. But he got a tackle for loss for -2 yards. And then he also made a nice sound play in coverage for 1 yard. So he did a really good job in pass coverage, I thought, and that's the grade reflects that. When it comes to his run fit integrity, he did have 2 missed run fit assignments. So for me, if I'm looking at it from a coaching perspective, I'm looking at this and saying, hey, look, like whether it be the A gap, B gap, or C gap, you need to be able to box to spill. And if you can't box to spill, at least flush the play back inside to your help. And I think no matter what rules of engagement apply, that's what you're always taught. You never want to spill the play outside. You always, if as a last line of resort, more times than not, you're going to want to box that play back inside. Because why? Because when you box it back inside, at least these other guys have a chance to help and recover. All right. And we learned that just by playing or knowing the game. So again, it's funny when I hear people say, oh, well, that's on that player, oh, he was the nearest defender, so it's on him. No, like, what if he's doing a gap replace? What if he's in coverage and the other guy just screwed up and he noticed it because he was a smart football player? Trust me, I played with a few of them who are dumb, and be like, okay, well, he didn't know his freaking cover shell, so he doesn't know how to play a cover 7 or a quarter half coverage, and so now I have to play deep middle instead of playing my quarters. Because I'm not going to let that guy run down the seam freely. And then people be like, oh, he was the nearest defender, so it must be on him. I think that's a Grady. Is Grady even a word? I think that is a lazy. Grady is a new word now here in the DOB. It's lazy and grading go together when you grade it on the nearest defender. So I'm calling it, that's a Grady way of doing it. See, that 10 finds fast. All right, on to Six Soldier says, Beast, thoughts on Hall? I like him. He had a really good game. Let's go ahead and get to Hall's grades, right? How did Tyler Hall do? All right, so let's pull up his grades. Well, my grading system, he gave up 1 missed run fit assignment, again, from box to spill, he didn't do a nice job there, but you don't expect him to. He's a smaller cornerback on the boundary, but you kind of want to see some fight there. He did come up with one pass breakup. I thought that he did a really good job there. He was targeted 5 times, 3 of those going for completions for a total of 12 yards in coverage. So did a really good job. In fact, I thought he did a really, really nice job overall in knowing his pass cover shell assignments. Look for him to be active again next week, especially against this Pittsburgh Steelers team who likes to obviously run the football a lot. But again, if you guys know, they have guys like Deontay Johnson, George Pickens there. So when you have guys on the outside that can really beat you with speed and kind of create fuga up front, you're going to create some kind of mismatches there. But I like Tyler Hall. I thought I did a really good job against the New England Patriots. So I hope that answers the question. Sebastian Loper says, how do you feel about 59 Luke Masters? He has been pretty impressive to me. There you go. I just provided that for you. Onto 6 I reposted them IG. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. A lot of D Menace says, hit that like button, nation. Yeah, hit that like button. Also, people are wondering how you can donate. If you like the content that I provide here on YouTube, send me a super chat, send me a super sticker, give this video a thumbs up. There's 24 of us watching right now, including myself. No, I'm joking. It doesn't include myself, obviously. But there's more, obviously, on Twitter and all that. Doesn't keep count of that. Facebook Live and all that other jazz. But give this video a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook. It will help push the algorithm to other Raider Nation like yourself. And look, I don't post this to any of my other Facebook groups and pages that I'm on. I just post it to the one respective that we're on. So Dark Side of Beast Rider, if you're on Facebook, follow us at Dark Side of Beast Rider. It's a good way for you to be entered for our weekly giveaways, as well as staying on topic when it comes to all your silver and black needs. Look, I do things a little bit different. I have a grading system. That's one thing that I like to do. It takes a lot of time. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it doesn't take time, and it's not tedious, and it's not hard work. It's hard work. So any game that I watch, you can put in 4 or 5 hours of game film study on one specific game. And again, there's a lot of different rules of engagement apply, but when you cover all 32 NFL teams and you have grades on all these players, and then you formulate your analysis from that standpoint, you can kind of pick and choose your spots, right? And you can kind of see, well, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do this, and they're trying to do that. And then you can kind of confirm with the players without them giving you the answer. Of course, they're not going to, oh yeah, we ran this on this. They're not going to tell you that. But that's why you have to watch film, because no one's going to give you the answers. You have to figure out some of the stuff on your own. Right, you have to figure some of the stuff out on your own. If you don't figure some of the stuff on your own, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place. And there's people like that, like, oh, that was on this player. It's like, no, man, that was not on that player. Like, what are you doing? On to 6 Soldier. Thank you so much. It's a moment silence for Matt. All right, let's do a moment silence for Matt Jones. May you rest in peace, Matt Jones, for trying to make that tackle. That was crazy, right? Like, honestly, that was crazy. I don't know about you guys. I thought that was crazy how that all took place. Like, how did that happen? On to 6 Soldier says, another moment of silence for Mac Jones. Mac Jones, not Matt Jones. I got you, man. Mac Jones. Thank you so much. We'll do another one. All right. We're good. This is funny. We're funny here in the DOB. On to 6 Soldiers, hilarious. Jesse Cardenas says, salute, brother. D-Men's 4,200. All right. A bunch of her O-line was listed as limited participants today's practice. Do you think they'll play on Sunday? Look, I was in that locker room today. We're going to get to that. I just want to wrap up my grades right now. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of good information. Let's stay on topic. Okay, so we talked about the defensive front seven. We talked about, obviously, Max Crosby, Jerry Tillery, and all these other defensive front seven players. Let's get to the secondary. All right. And if you notice, this thumbnail or this YouTube channel is in regards to the defensive tackles, right? Matthew Butler, Neil Farrell, 2 guys that I got to know early on in the process during that rookie year, got to know them on more personal level. And these guys are really working hard. And I want to talk about them because not too many people are really talking about them. And I feel like they should get some love and just so the Raider Nation can kind of see where their head's at, right? Because some people are like, oh, why aren't they playing? Well, I got answers for you. I got answered. That's why you guys follow me. That's why you guys are here in the DOB. That's why you guys are watching at 7:10 p.m. That's why we lift all them weights, as Bill Parcells would say. Oh my gosh. All right, which by the way, I'll be posting my fitness gains too here on the DOB. In fact, we're building out my home gym right now as we speak. All right, so Nate Hobbs, great out of 8 out of 10, did a really good job in coverage. Talked to him today. This guy is bouncing back. Didn't have a hot game last week. Comes around, bounces back in a big way. That says a lot about who he is as a man and tells you a lot about his character. I like Nate Hobbs, like him. Amik Robertson had arguably his best game of the year. In fact, it was when you run the grades. Or when I run the grades, grade out 9.5 out of 10, had 3 pass breakups, also did a really good job in coverage, was targeted 7 times with no completions, as Denver would say, incomplete. But he did have a hidden yardage penalty that's resulted in 15 yards for pass interference. Outside of that, clean game by the entire secondary. So good job by my guy, Amik, who I also talked to today in the locker room and got an exclusive interview for him post-game. Stay tuned for that. Didn't post that one yet. Wanted to save it. Trayvon Merrick, not so hot. Trayvon Merrick, and again, I thought Trayvon Merrick was going to be a Pro Bowl type player this year. It's like, man, this guy's smart. He gets it. He's the quarterback of the secondary. You guys saw my Twitter. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I tweeted this stuff out. Coach echoed that throughout the year, that the safety of the quarterback is secondary. No surprise here in the DOB if you follow me since day one. But if you're new to following me, that's what I said back in training camp, and we echoed it just a few days ago. But anyways, back on topic, Trayvon Merrick graded out of 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. And in my grading system, when it comes to Trayvon Merrick, he was targeted 3 times, 2 of those going for completions, and gave up a team high 50 yards in coverage. And again, when you do that, you kind of have to take a look at this and say, hey, is Trayvon Merrick going to be here for the long term? Because he's not a GM Dave Ziegler pick. He's not a head coach McDaniels pick. So is the TCU product going to be here for long term? We all saw what happened to the 2020 draft class. Amik Robinson's the only guy left standing. And then 2021 rolls around. We all saw what happened to Alex Leatherwood and the likes of other players. So what's going to happen? We don't know. But I will say this. I do like Trayvon Merrick. I do think he has Pro Bowl potential. Whether or not he lives up to that potential remains to be seen. Because in my estimation, the strongest year for growth comes from year 1 to year 2. It kind of seems like, even though it's a new scheme, and if you ask the coaches, like, you know, they'll say what you want you to hear. They'll be like, oh yeah, Trayvon Merrick's coming along, he's learning the system, yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, a cover shell is a cover shell. Like, if you're playing a cover 3 and you're a single high safety, you need to know your assignment. Like, that just comes down to film study based on the rules of engagement and the personnel and the formations and down and distance. And you learn that from studying. And Trayvon Merrick is very smart at that. Tackling is also the art of knowing fundamentals. So we talk about being a shoulder leverage tackling team when it comes to the Las Vegas Raiders, right? You see all my training camp videos that I posted up here on YouTube. If you missed those, go watch them. You know, the hunt and gather technique. You saw it. One particular play, you saw Max Crosby doing a nice job on Mac Jones, sealing off the edge there. He used the hunt and gather technique, and that's why Mac Jones, or sorry, Max, why am I saying Mac Jones? Max Crosby. Gosh, you got onto Six Soldier, got me confused with Mac Jones. Like whatever. It was on Mac Jones, and it was Max Crosby who used the hunt and gather technique out in open space. And so, again, that's why I get upset when people, oh, it's on the coaches that they're, you know, teams doing. So it's like, no, man, like, it's the players for not knowing how to tackle. Like, they're teaching this throughout training camp. And then people are saying, oh, are asking the Raider Nation, asking me here in the DOB, is the vibe changed now that the we? No. And I think that's a good thing, because consistency is key. What they're doing now is they're just buying in, and they were buying in, but some players maybe weren't buying in, and those players aren't here anymore. So I don't know what else to tell people other than, for me, from a coaching, their coaching perspective, and from a media perspective, and then down to, I guess, from a player's perspective, like the different layers of the onion to really get to the core, is the team is still the same team. Like, the direction that the team is going is still trending in the right direction. The mindset, the ideology, the schemes, and all that are knowledge and whatever BS that we can talk about. I shouldn't call it BS, but, you know, all that other stuff that people like to point out as reasons why the team is struggling. It's not. If you coached or if you played, like, you would know, like, dude, like, is it Coach McDaniel's fault that the team has 15 missed tackles or 35 penalties, false start penalties, or that Jermaine Illuminor is like, what, second in the league in penalties, and that's a drive killer in itself? I mean, come on. I'm not trying to point out Jermaine Illuminor. I'm just making a point. I like Jermaine. But I'm just saying, let's just stick to the facts. The facts of the matter is what? I'm sure the coaches tell them to go off sides every time, right? I'm sure the coaches tell Cleve Farrell to jump off sides with, on a punting formation penalty, which led to a first down. And I'm sure they also taught Jerry Tillery to knock the ball out of the quarterback's hands with no timeouts left remaining. Let's just keep it 100, guys. I'm just saying, let's just keep it 100. Let's just keep it 100. But no, like that's where the grades come into play, and that's where I see it playing out with Trayvon Merrick. Obviously, Duron Harmon, grade out of 6 out of 10. He did really good in run fit integrity, and he did a really good job in coverage. All right, so with the grades now wrapped up, we're going to go ahead and talk about this. We're going to talk. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, but we're going to talk about what you guys are saying, right? So Daniel says a bunch of our O-line was hurt, listed as limited. Let's go ahead and talk about the injury report. All right, so today's injury report, let's get down to it. There's 22 of us watching right now. Just give this video a thumbs up. It will push the algorithm to other Raider Nation like yourself. I like doing that. I kind of feel like I need to do that because that's what people do, and that's how they get big or bigger. So I'm going to do that. Give it a thumbs up, like, comment, push all the little buttons there. No, but really, it's funny. I should say, just push all the little buttons there, on your devices, social media devices. Oh my gosh. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the injury, and let's pull that up right now. Thanks to Will Kiss, Raiders PR director. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. He gave me the injury report. And this is what we have. Alex Bars has obviously the right guard. He had a knee injury. He did not participate yesterday. Today, he was limited. Jackson Barton had a back injury. He did not participate yesterday, but today he was limited. Andrew Billings, saw him in the locker. He's still dealing with fibula injury. He was limited throughout the week, and that includes today. And let's face it, if Andrew Billings was not playing this week, the Raiders, what they could have done is sent him to IR, because then he would miss the next 4 games, which basically if he misses the Steelers game, that would be 4 games, and that would open up a roster spot and also a practice squad spot and a corresponding move. They probably thought that he could come back sooner rather than later, because if GM Dave Ziegler and Coach McDaniels thought he would return, it would be by this week with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he was listed as a limited participant. So you got to look at this stuff, right? You got to look at this stuff. That's why you guys have me, because you guys have 9-to-5s and other jobs, and you guys have a life. Darian Butler had a quad injury. He was limited throughout practice yesterday and today. Jermaine Eleanor, who we just talked about, he was a full participant, injured his wrist. I saw the coach's film. I know what play he injured it. Duron Harmon is dealing with a shoulder and neck injury. He was limited throughout, but he looks good to go. If you were to ask me, nothing official, but he's going to play, my opinion. Now watch him not play. Dylan Parham, he obviously, you guys know who he is, 3rd round pick. You guys know who he is. If you guys don't know, I'm just letting you guys know. He has dealing with knee injury. He did not partake in practice yesterday, but he was limited today. Same with Zeus White. Talked to him today in the locker room. He's dealing with an ankle injury, but he didn't have any type of hobble or limp. So Zeus White didn't practice yesterday. He was limited today. He looked fine in the locker room. I think he would be a good to go if you were to ask me. I think he'll be active on game day. Rock Yassin still dealing with a knee injury. He didn't partake in practice yesterday or today. I don't expect him to return. He'll be out for another week. All right. Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett had a concussion, was going through concussion protocol, obviously, and he was a full participant this week, so he looks good to go. Josh Jackson, the defensive back, is dealing with an ankle injury, but he was full to go. Deontay Johnson, he has been dealing with a toe injury. He was limited yesterday, did not partake in practice today. That's interesting that he did not partake in practice today after being limited yesterday. So did he take a step back? Or did he re-injure it? Najee Harris, my guy, Roll Tide Roll, is dealing with a hip injury, probably a hip pointer. I don't really know. But he was limited yesterday and did not partake in practice today. This could all be precautionary measures. I don't know. Terrell Edmonds, who's a liability in pass coverage, which I pointed out on Twitter in my grading system. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury. He might not even play this week because he didn't partake in practice yesterday or today. We have Derek Watt. Yes, that is TJ Watt's brother. He's listed as a fullback. Obviously, special teams ace. We all know how that goes. And you guys don't know, Cam Hayward also has Connor Hayward on the team. That's another brother dynamic duo. But anyways, getting back to Derek Watt, he's dealing with an ankle injury. He was limited yesterday with full participant today. And then we have Miles Jack. Yes, the UCLA linebacker slash running back slash special teams ace. Number 44, Miles Jack, that was with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He is now off to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys don't remember that. I thought that was a sound move in the offseason. They picked him up. He's dealing with a groin injury. He was limited yesterday and also limited today. All right, we got Pat Freiermuth, who they call Muth. They're not booing him. They're saying Muth, as in Pat Freiermuth. He is dealing with a foot injury, but he was a full participant in both days. Expect him to play on game day. Speaking of Cam Hayward, he had a non-injury rest day. He didn't partake in practice yesterday, but was a full participant today. Larry Ogunjobi, another underrated move, just like Bilal Nichols was, coming from the AFC and basically sticking within the division, right? Coming from the Cleveland Browns. He had a non-injury rest day, but then he also had a toe injury, so he did not partake in practice over the last 2 days. J.C. Hassenauer. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. If I butcher your last name, I'm sorry, JC. I'm just calling you JC. JC had a non-injury personal issue, so he was not listed yesterday and did not partake in practice today. So that's your injury report. And as far as your question, Daniel Kim, you said a bunch of our O-line was listed as limited participants today in practice. Do you think they'll play on Sunday? I do. And in fact, don't be surprised if Nite Mutai gets elevated to the active roster from practice squad. Well, not practice squad because he's on the active roster, but gets elevated on game day. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't be surprised. I interviewed Nite Mutai. He didn't tell me anything, obviously, but he's learning from Coach Clemens. And the sense that I'm getting is they kind of want to see what they have in Nite Mutai. I just like saying that name, Nite Mutai. Talked about his game. Don't want to spill the interview, right? Beans, if you will. The Locker Room Pulse interviews that you guys come to love here in the DOB. Exclusively here in the Dark Side of Beats Rider. Also part of the Sporting Tribune family. You guys know I also write for the Sporting Tribune. Also post social media content for the Sporting Tribune as their sole Raiders beat writer. Go follow Arash Markazi. Go follow the Sporting Tribune on all the respective social media platforms that I am on, because you're going to want to see what we all have to say. All right. A lot of comments rolling through. I'm behind on these comments. I am sorry. Jamie says, good one. On to 6. On to Beast. Thoughts on the last play for Pat's perspective. Look, I tweeted this stuff out post-game, right after the game ended. Obviously, some Patriots play for the Raiders now. I spoke to one unnamed Patriots player, and I said, look, I'm not going to name drop you, but I just want to know. What is going through Coach Belichick's mind right now? He says, bro, he's heated. That's situational football. That situational football is like, bro, they're heated. He is heated. Heated. What I thought from up in the press box, once I saw Ramondre Stevenson pitch it and I saw Jacoby Myers go backwards, I'm like, there's no way he's going to throw this ball to Chandler Jones. And I said Chandler Jones because there's no way Mac Jones is going to high point the 50-50 ball against a guy who's 6'7", 280 pounds. There's just no way you can't win that matchup. I'm sorry. That's like me trying to go for a rebound and try to box out. Well, let's put in layman terms, only 5'5". Okay, so the guys, let's say a guy's like 6'2", 220 pounds. There's no way I can win that. Even if I have leverage on them, there's no way I can win that. Now I can sell it and I can draw a foul over the back foul. I can do that, but there's no way I'm going to be catching that rebound unless it comes straight down. It grazes the rim and comes straight down. There's no way. So once that ball was thrown, I was like, man, this is going to get picked off. Once it got picked off, I got to be honest with you. Once that ball was picked off, there's a few players who thought, and I'm not going to name the players, but they're like, we thought that Chandler Jones was going to pitch it because there's no way he's gonna run the distance and make it a house call from 48 yards out. There's no way. They're like, some players were saying pitch, or thinking pitch. He didn't. He stiff-armed Mac Jones, and he took it to the house himself and sealed the victory. I thought from the press box, Mac Jones. There's so many Jones. Mac Jones, Chandler Jones. Anyways, Jack Jones. But I thought that Chandler Jones was going to pitch it. I thought he would have been better served to pitch it to like a DB or a linebacker who has better 40 time and can run the distance. Luckily, Chandler Jones says, nah, I'm not going to listen to you, beast. I'm not going to listen to anyone else. I see the Jumbotron right there. I know I can take it the distance. And that's what happened. He threw a mean stiff arm, which is 36-inch arm length or whatever it is. What is it? 36, 37, 38, 39. That's crazy. It's not 37 or 38. I'm just saying. It's probably 36 and a quarter. I don't know. What is his arm length? Really? I mean, I see this guy every day in the locker room, Chandler Jones, and I stand next to him. Like today, I stood next to Chandler Jones yesterday as we passed by him. It's like, man, this guy is really like he can literally stiff arm me from like out the door. Like you can't coach that. Like even if you wanted long arms, like you can't do like go gadget arms. Like it's not going to work. I just thought that Chandler Jones made one hell of a play. And after the play was over, post game, I spoke with Chandler Jones right after the game. You guys saw my YouTube channel and asked him about the Desperado play. If you guys missed it, go back. Again, you got like just give this video a thumbs up if you like my stuff. And again, you're going to be missing a lot of stuff if you're not watching and keeping up to date on all the social media platforms, specifically here on YouTube, because again, this is where I post the majority of my content, but I also post my reels on Instagram. And if you share all this stuff and tag me in it, you'll be entered for, again, like all our giveaways that we give away all the time. So again, if you're missing anything, we run giveaways just for following me on social media. So follow me on social media and you'll be entered. But anyways, yeah. Jesse Gardena says he got baptized next to the Raiders. He did. SVT Vasquez says Kuntz has played well when he's on the field. I wonder why he doesn't get more playing time. Look, SVT Vasquez, I talked to Malcolm Kuntz today in the locker room, and I'll just say, he made a nice play on that blocked punt. And we talked about it. And so, for me, Malcolm is just, again, he's not a Dave Ziegler pick. He's not a Coach McDaniels pick. Now, is that to say that they're not going to be returning because of that? No, that's dumb. Is that because Josh Jacobs isn't a Ziegler pick, but he could be returning, right? Let's hope. But let's hope for the best. Fingers crossed. But why Malcolm Kuntz isn't getting more snaps is probably because Max Crosby there, and that's because Chandler Jones is there. And again, there's only so many snaps to go around. And you guys got to remember, Tayshaun Bauer has been a healthy scratch the majority of the season. And I talked to Tayshaun Bauer just a few weeks ago, and he talked about, reading his keys, doing the little things, doing your job, and doing your job from the locker room. I just want to point this out, whether talking to Nite Mutai today, whether it be talking to Hronis Grasu today, whether it be talking to some of these other guys that I spoke with today, like Neil Farrell, they all talked about doing your job. And that, what is that echoing from? The Patriot way, right? So whenever everyone's, we're not the Patriots or we're the Raiders, but it's like, nah, man, like you pick and choose your spots and then you formulate your own culture identity, right? And so I think that's what you're seeing with the Raiders. And so in doing your job, everybody needs to do their job. I mean, I think that's a staple of any foundational culture that you're trying to bring if you're going to be successful, is doing your job. If you're not doing your job, then you're not going to be successful. Like, what did you do today? I didn't do my job. Oh, so it was a good day. Like, what? I don't know, man. Crazy. Yeah. D-Man says subscribe to the DLB family. Alan Santos, my guy. Alan Santos has been with me since day one. He says, Coach, say anything about their approach to the weather this Saturday? No, we haven't talked to Coach. We talked to Coach tomorrow. No, we don't talk to Coach tomorrow. I think we talked to Coach on Friday. We'll get Coach on Friday. Coach talked today about it. I wasn't, I'm not so sure if he did talk about the weather on Saturday. He might have. I actually didn't go this morning to go see Coach McDaniels, but I will ask that question. I obviously have the transcript right here. Let me look at it because that's a good question. Let's see. I had to get my workout in. For people wondering, I had to get my workout in, so I was unable to make Coach McDaniel's presser early on in the morning, but I was there for the second half of practice and player interviews. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the what are you doing? Okay, let me pull it up for you guys. All right, so if you guys missed it, in fact, since go over the whole transcript just so you guys know what's going on today. and we can do this. All right. So obviously, Coach McDaniels opened it up with Franco Harris's passing, and condolences to him and his family. Let's see. Did he talk about one that happened growing up a football fan? How much of the game plan depends on you go up? Oh, here we go. Okay, so the question was asked: how much of the game plan depends on when you go out before the game and see the conditions and what you can and can't do. So obviously, before I even read what Coach McDaniel says, I'm probably thinking that he's going to say, yeah, obviously it has some kind of an impact, right? If there's a win factor, it's going to have an impact on field possession, and it's going to have an impact on whether you go for it on fourth down or as opposed to kicking a field goal. All these factors come into play, and then you have to go through analytics, and then obviously from analytics, you have to see on a game-by-game basis and on play-by-play basis what's the best course of action in order to be successful. So yeah, I mean, common sense would tell you, yes, it's going to have an impact on the game. But let's see what Coach McDaniel says. He says, the question was asked, how much of the game plan depends on when you go out before the game and see the conditions and what you can and can't do? Coach McDaniel's answers, I mean, obviously you need to be ready to adjust. If something determines that you need to adjust. See, I didn't even know. I already knew the answer. Before. Checking off another beast receipt. That's why you guys follow me here in the DLB. Okay, no. He says, fortunately for me, or unfortunately, maybe, I've been in a whole bunch of cold weather, East Coast, late in the year type games, whether it's temperature, wind, snow, rain, whatever it is. I mean, look, we have no control over the weather. We're not playing the weather. We're playing the Steelers. Our preparation is going to be solely focused on them. If something in the weather would dictate 50-mile-per-hour winds or something like that, obviously you need to be ready to adjust accordingly. And there's a lot of things that would go into that. But clearly, when you play in these kinds of games, you have to be ready to do it. It doesn't mean that you've got to go in and assume that those things are going to happen. But I think preparation the next few days is going to be important just in case we need to adjust. So pretty much what I just said before I even read the transcript. Hopefully that helps. Robert Pena says, Raiders. All right. And there's 25 of us watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up and like and comment. Also, if you guys like my live streams, please drop your comments if you're watching this live or post live. I would say post game. I guess you can call it post game or post game, and drop your comments in there. I read all the comments and respond to all your feedback. That way I can get a better knowledge and grasp of what you guys want here in the DOB, because I don't want to waste my time or waste your time going on here now that we're on for an hour and 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Time is money. So if you guys don't like what I have to provide, I'm going to go trend in a different direction and talk about something totally different. So like I said, man, it's all about having the good vibes only and letting me know what you guys want. And again, if you guys want support, we've been on for an hour and 2 minutes now. You guys can do that with a super chat or super sticker here on YouTube. Also, if you're watching on Twitter, my Venmo is linked on my Venmo account. On Twitter, you guys can go ahead and donate there as well to the DOB family here on YouTube and on Twitter. And again, who doesn't have a Venmo these days, right? Everybody has Venmo. And so if you want to if you guys don't want to send me a super chat or super sticker because you're like, nah, man, I don't want to do it that way, but you do want to donate, my Venmo is linked in the description box below of every YouTube video. It's at Beast Rider. You guys can find me there, and then you guys can send a donation there as a thank you. And again, some of you guys have been doing that, and I really, really appreciate it. I know Steven gave me a payment through Venmo. Thank you so much. Kevin did the other day, and so did Christian. So I want to thank you guys for go ahead and doing that, because it means a lot. And a little goes a long way. And so again, I'm going to continue doing this as my 9 to 5. But again, at the end of the day, it has to pay the bills, right? It has to pay the bills. And we are a startup. So just imagine. I wouldn't want it any other way. I like grinding it out this way. And again, if you're unable to donate, that's all good, man. Just give this video a thumbs up. Guy or girl, just give a video a thumbs up and share this on social media. That is free. And that would just provide a lot of help here in the DOB as we continue to grow the DOB family. And again, the bigger we get, the bigger the prizes. So this is what we're giving away, $100 worth of merchandise. But if we grow if we get 10,000 subscribers, I'll be giving away season tickets to the Raiders game next year. If we get 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube, I will buy season tickets to the Raiders, and I will donate every single game tickets to the Raiders game. So share, so you can win. Like, so you can win. That should be a shirt. Jessica Gardena says, salute Robert Pena. Here we go. We got a lot of people up in here. All right, here we go. I'm just going to drop in the comments. Bam. D. Menace. Robert Pena always be commenting. I love it. Robert, you were going back in my workout videos. I like it. I'm going to be posting more workout videos for all you guys. And again, it ain't for everyone. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, getting fit and everything, and all that cool stuff. Hey, but I get paid for it. Like, people don't know who are new. They're like, oh man, you're just one of those douchebags at the gym. It's like, no, I actually get paid for it. Like, I actually compete. I'm a fitness model. Like, this is part of I have a life outside of football, right? And so obviously bodybuilding is another one. Obviously, I'm an Evogen athlete. So if you guys don't Evogen, here in Vegas, we took first and second. How's your boy? Derek Lunsford won. Hadi Chopin won. Hani Rambad. Team Evogen's in the house. Y'all know about that life. So just saying. Marcus Lacon said, Lycon. Sorry. Marcus. I don't want to butcher your last name, but I'm just going to say Marcus says, do you think Renfrow makes any impact in this offense? Although he recently returned, he seems like he's last in the pecking order. It goes Adams 1A, Jacobs 2, Waller 3, Hollins 4, Cole 5, Renfrow. That's a great question. I think, it is really concerning that he's not getting a higher target share or having more success. I really can't answer that for you because throughout training camp, you guys saw my tweets. I was saying this guy's going to be a beast. He's going to go off and he could arguably be better than Devontae. I literally said this. He's not going to be better than Devontae Adams, obviously, but put up better numbers than Devontae because Devontae is going to take the bulk load of the focus, right? So anytime you have Devontae Adams there, it's going to be like a 2-by-1 coverage anyways over the top. So that leaves someone else open. Well, Hunter Renfrow can easily win his one-on-one matchup. So especially lined up in the slot, right? Against a linebacker and so forth because he knows how to come off his stem. He's a great route runner. He's very silky smooth coming in and out of his breaks. And so, we can talk about all the different route concepts that he can provide, especially when you have Devontae Adams lined up on the other side or even on the same side. But it just hasn't panned out for him for whatever reason. I think this is like a lost season for Hunter Renfrow simply because, he was dealing with a concussion. He was dealing with all these injuries, being sent to IR, now coming back. Saw him briefly today in the locker room. He looks fine to me. But at the end of the day, I would say this is a lost season for Hunter Renfrow, but I don't think it's a lost. How do I say this? I don't think that the Raider Nation should be concerned moving forward because, in my estimation, he's a top 5 slot machine wide receiver. Like, there's a reason why he's nicknamed the slot machine for a reason. And I know we like to talk about, the instant gratification, like, oh, he signed this big money contract and he's kind of like not there anymore, kind of like a Darren Waller. But let's face it, like, the team has not been 100% healthy. Had they been 100% healthy, the Raiders could have pulled out maybe 2-3 wins, right? Think about it. And aside from that, let's say they were healthy for an entire season. Now the continuity comes into play. Why? Because now you're building rapport with one another. So now you know how Hunter Renfrow likes to come off his stem when he's lined up against Devontae Adams or when he's lined up opposite of Darren Waller. So again, there's not going to be people crossing and running into each other like we saw earlier in the year because they already grasped that concept of, okay, this is the type of pattern that this guy likes to run. So I need to know based on this cover shell how I need to run my pattern so we don't intertwine the two if we're kind of running a shallow drag route and we're kind of do XYZ. So I'm just saying, Hunter Renfrow didn't have his best year, obviously, because he's been banged up, but I'm very, very optimistic for next season and moving forward. Robert says, I'm out. Christmas shopping. Just want to check in. Everyone's Christmas shopping, and you got to do it. You got to do it. Kimo from Kalihi says, what's up, Beast? What's going on? How are you doing today? Give this video a thumbs up if you guys like the content. Do me a solid. Share this on Facebook. Share this on Instagram. You guys can do that. You guys can just link the video and post it as an IG story, and boom, tag me. I'll see it, and you'll be entered for our weekly DLB giveaways. Daniel Kim says, where do you think our most important matchups are to be victorious on Sunday? That's a good question. I think it's down in the trenches. I think you need to stop Najee Harris. Look, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I covered the Steelers dating back to 2018 before covering the Raiders and the Niners, and obviously, well, not before covering the Niners, but always cover the Niners. But, when you look at it, they like to run the football. They like to be tough, physical, and short the game. How you shorten the game? Well, you have to win the time of possession, and they run the football imposing their will down in the trenches. I think you're going to see a low-scoring ball game. I think this game can be anywhere a 2017 ball game, somewhere in there, 23-20 type of a ball game if we're lucky. I don't think the 40, I don't know what the point spread is, but to see this game go beyond 40.5 points, I would take the under. I would definitely take the under because I think both teams are going to try to shorten the game. Josh Jacobs is going to try to get going, and it's whoever can control the clock and control the line of scrimmage. And I think that's why it's very important that we're going to talk about these two guys here because I do want to talk about it, right? I do want to talk about these two guys. I want to talk about Matthew Butler. I want to talk about Neil Farrell and what they bring to the table and why they're not getting playing time. Look, I ran grades on them every single snap this year, and you guys have to ask yourselves, why isn't the fourth round pick not playing? Why isn't the fifth round pick this year not playing? Why are they healthy scratches for the majority of the season? Both those guys were active 6 games this year, right, at different parts of the season. In fact, I ran the numbers, and then we just go ahead and break it down to you. All right. So Matthew Butler was active for the first time weeks 3 to week 4. Neil Farrell was active for the first time, replacing Butler week 5 to week 8. All right. So Butler was the first one off, and he went on the active list, and then he was the first one off, and Neil Farrell stepped in, and now he's in. All right. Then then in week 9, Matthew Butler replaces Kendall Vickers. Y'all remember Kendall Vickers? Yeah, he's no longer with the team anymore. And he replaces Kendall Vickers for the first time. All right. Then in week 10, both Matthew Butler and Neil Farrell are healthy scratches. Then Neil Farrell is active week 11. But then inactive week 12. Matthew Butler is also inactive week 12. So week 13 to week 15 which is now, Matthew Butler's been active. Neil Farrell's only been active within that time frame, week 14 at the Rams, and was a healthy scratch last week. So again, you're kind of seeing two players here that kind of get playing time, then kind of get pulled back, kind of get playing time, kind of get pulled back. And the question remains to be seen why. Well, if you guys remember, and you follow me here in the DLB here on YouTube, and on Twitter and Instagram and so forth. And again, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's at Beast Rider, just like on YouTube, at Beast Rider. And you guys can follow me on Facebook at Dark Side of Beast Rider. But if you just look up Beast Rider on all the social media platforms, whether it be YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram, it's at Beast Rider. And you guys can find all my links there. But and follow me there on those respective platforms. But, I asked Coach McDaniels, hey, man, you have 2 rookies, like Neil Farrell and Matthew Butler, both been healthy scratches. Like, what gives? Like, are you not seeing something in practice for them to be inactive on game days? I mean, there's a reason why, right? They had to bring in defensive tackle Jerry Tillery or thought otherwise. But then again, they traded Jonathan Hankins, right? Andrew Billings goes basically on IR. He's not on IR, obviously, but technically he was because he missed the last 4 games if he doesn't play this week with a fibula injury. And so you really got to ask yourself, and obviously they got rid of Kendall Vickers, but you got to ask yourself, okay, what's going on here? What's going on here with these guys? Are they just not getting it? Do they not know how to ID the ball carrier? Do they not know how to stack and shed properly? Are they losing their minds with fundamentals? Like, what gives? And I talked to both Matthew Butler and Neil Farrell. I don't think that's it. And so I asked Coach McDaniels simply, hey, look, man, like, what's going on? Like, can you give me some kind of insight on what's going on, or give us some kind of insight on what's going on? And he said, the game's kind of slowed down for them. Earlier on, it wasn't like that, but the game's kind of slowed down to them to now what we're seeing at Tennessee, not what we're seeing at LSU, coming out of the SEC powerhouse. That's converting now in the NFL level, whereas earlier on, we weren't really seeing that. So he said that, and this is going into week 10 or week 11, I can't remember, one of the 2 weeks, he was saying around that time frame, he was saying, these guys are going to be earning more playing time. Well, that's true in a sense for Matthew Butler, but not so much in the sense of Neil Farrell. So the question remains to be seen, with 3 games left in the year, what's the sample size to pull from that we can really say and have a conviction, hey, man, these guys can play or these guys can't play, because it's not fair if they're not getting those reps. Now, I will say this. I will say Kyle Pecco is playing hell of a job. Kyle Pecco is a guy who I thought should be starting, and then he was released by the team and then brought back on the practice squad, now elevated to the active roster. Talked about it with Coach Graham. If you guys follow me here on the Dark Side of Beast Rider, and talked about it with Coach Graham the other day, yesterday to be exact. And I asked him, I say, hey, look, man, what's going on with Kyle Peko, man? This guy's a beast. He graded really well against the Patriots, from what I saw. What do you can say? He's like, man, he's doing everything right. ID in the ball carrier, can stack and shed, can box to spill. He talks about the fundamentals. He talks about being able to lock out, being able to trust your eyes, right? And so that's what makes Kyle Peko so great at what he does. And you guys got to remember, Kyle Peko is a guy who's been in the league for a while, so he actually gets it. Not saying that Neil Farrell and Matthew Butler don't get it. I think they do get it, but I'm just saying, like, when questions are asked to me why these guys aren't playing, and I have to ask myself, why are these guys aren't playing? I mean, like I said, I'm your eyes and ears. So this is the feedback that I've been getting is, look, these guys get it. You guys saw the player interviews from Matthew Butler and Neil Farrell. Talked to Neil today about it. And before, he said it's marathon, not a race, right? So he's learning the NFL game. Obviously, you guys know I'm good friends with his LSU coach at the time, Andre Carter, and talked to Andre about it the moment he got drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders. And we talked at length about Neil and what he brings to the table. And he called him a lighter Vince Wilfork. Well, fast forward to today, and that lighter Vince Wilfork has been a healthy scratch. And so I talked to Neil because I like Neil, and I think he's a guy that the Raider Nation is going to come to love. I think Matthew Butler is going to be a guy that the Raider Nation come to love if they can show their worth and given the opportunities. But you have to earn these reps, right? I'm not saying they're not earning these reps because I do think they deserve these reps. But at the end of the day, it's like this. It's like, I'm not the coach. I'm not the GM, so I'm not the one making the decision. All I'm doing is painting a picture for all you guys on what to look for moving forward. Because again, not too many people are really giving Neil Farrell and Matthew Butler love. I'm going to give these guys love because at the end of the day, I think these guys are foundational core pieces that you can win with moving forward. From the sample size that you pull from, yes, is there things that both players need to work on? Absolutely. But again, you can't gauge it off 3-4 rep sample size in the game. Like that's just I think that's unfair, because to say, oh, you have to be sound and perfect, that would be wrong of me. And Coach McDaniels talked about it, right? He's like, the most important thing I want both these players to do is what? If you follow me here in the DOB here on YouTube, you would know. He said, I want them to be aggressive, most importantly, and play aggressively and not think as much. Well, you talk to Matthew Butler, which I did, and got the exclusive interview. I asked him about it, what Coach said, and he said, yeah, you know what, to be honest with you, I think we try to, I try to do things perfect, but no one's perfect. And so with the live reps, I can get acclimated, because no one is perfect, right? But you want to be as perfect as possible to appease the coaching staff. So again, we've all been there before. And these are two young studs on the interior. When people say, oh, we need to go out and get a Jalen Carter, we need to go out and get some of these defensive tackles in the draft because we don't have anything. It's like, no, man, you guys have talent. Like, the Raider Nation has talent up front. It's just about untapping that potential, because at the end of the day, let's face it, if you covered LSU games, if you covered Tennessee games, these guys can ball out. And so I like both these players. They're very instinctive, they're very smart, and they're very strong at the point of attack, and they can win in the scheme. So for anyone that says, oh, we need this, we need that, it's like, man, like, I'm not saying we don't need an interior rusher up the middle. It'd be nice to have a double-digit sack artist from the 3-technique defensive tackle position, but let's be honest, there's not one on this roster. But to say that we need to go out and get a revamped defensive line on the interior, I would disagree with that 110%. So I hope this clears it up for you. All of you. All right. D-Miss says, don't forget to smash that like button. Marcus says, I agree with you, Jacob. I have confidence in Ziegler that he would deal one of them to unload one of the contracts. Thank you so much, Psycho Jackals. Hey, what's up, Beast? How are you seeing Jacobs with the finger? I think Jacobs is fine. Saw him today in the locker room. He's fine. I think Jacobs is fine. I don't see any issues with Josh Jacobs with that finger issue. Now he did say he's going to be using some kind of a splint on it to kind of protect it. And that's going to have some kind of impact on holding the ball, especially under these conditions. And if the game plan, which I expect him to get a huge amount of work, all right, I expect Josh Jacobs to have 25 touches in this ball game, 25, 30 touches in this ball game, spread across, receiving and also rushing, which, you can do the 10 24-5 split, 24-6 split, whatever the case may be. But we're going to see how that holds up. And there's a reason why they drafted Zeus White, right? I like Zeus White a lot. Talked to Zeus White today in the locker, man. Here's a guy who I think I really like Zeus White. Now, again, the sample size to pull from is very limited. So is he going to be the guy moving forward if they, in fact, move on from Josh Jacobs? We really don't know. So in order for GM Dave Ziegler and the scouting department to know what they do have and don't have, you're going to really have to take a look at your current roster, not just throughout practice, because let's face it, if you played sports, you know there's always those players who do well in practice and on game days, they kind of crap the bed. I'm just saying, it's like, what? Like, where was that yesterday? Like, or how come you can't do this like you did this yesterday? All right. So some guys are gamers, some are not. Some are practice players. We've all been there before. But no, thank you so much for the super chat and super sticker. I appreciate it, Psycho Jackal. But I think Josh Jacobs will be fine. He's not even listed on the injury report, which is interesting. He wasn't even listed on the injury report, which I found to be interesting. So he must be good. Chemo from Kalihi says, besides Haas and maybe Yassine, I think we need some corner help bad next year. Yes, absolutely. I think the whole secondary needs to get revamped. If there's one player that I really have a strong conviction that I like about, it'd be Duron Harmon. Duron Harmon is the quarterback of that secondary. I would love to see Duron Harmon start next year, to be honest with you. I love Duron Harmon, got to know him again on more, not just as a player, but on a personal level, just kind of getting his insight on like what he sees and from his vantage point as the free safety. Not going to give you too much information, but you can kind of see what he's talking about when you interview him. And you guys see the interviews posted on here on YouTube and Twitter and all these other social media platforms. But Duron Harmon is one of the smartest, if not the smartest football player on this football team. Duron Harmon gets it from the shoulders up. And aside from that, that's cool, right? You can always have those players that gets it from the shoulders up, but can they produce? Like, that's a difference of the two, right? Like, there's a reason why, people are coaches and not players, because, they can talk a good game and they could preach a good game and they can coach a good game, but they can't actually play the game. So Duron Harmon, he can do both. I can see him coaching one day, but then he also can play, and he's playing at a really high level in my estimation, in my grading system. So Duron Harmon is a guy who I really like and can teach the younger guys like Trayvon Merrick and kind of help them along. But at the end of the day, it's really up to the players on what they want to learn, right? And I believe we talked to Duron Harmon earlier in the year and what he brings to the table. And he said it right here on the DOB, right? When I asked him, I was like, man, like, what do you bring to the table here in Las Vegas? Like, what are you trying to do? And I asked him in training camp, and he said simply, it's all about giving back. I want to give back to these younger guys because, I had that. And so now I feel it's my responsibility as a veteran to give back to some of these younger players and help them out, whatever the case may be, because playing in the NFL in itself is hard. But, outside of that, you have your personal life. There's a lot of distractions that can go on. So I think Duron Harmon is a good locker room guy and also a very good player. So when you have a good guy like that, who kind of fits the community vibe, if you will, because obviously you got to be a good role model. Duron Harmon fits that build to a T. So I would like to see Duron Harmon come back. I would also see, Amir Abdullah, guys like that. I like to see these guys come back. I like Amir Abdullah as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this roster shapes up, but it'd be very hard for me to see this team next year without a Duron Harmon and be successful on the back end, especially having that leadership veteran presence. Makes sense? Hopefully that makes sense. But all right, I think I'm going to wrap up this live stream. Jacob Rodriguez says, as good as Jacobs is, this is literally his only healthy season. He's still playing banged up. Well, I think if you're a running back and you're the workhorse running back and you lead the NFL in rushing, you're going to get banged up. If you're not, that means you're superhuman. Jacob says, I believe in Z2. He's found interesting UDFAs and he's always willing, like bringing in Tillery, Hall, Pullamau, Webb. Yeah, he did a really good job. Darian Butler, Luke Masterson. Crazy. All right, I think that's going to wrap up this live stream. If you liked what I had to say here on this live stream, give this video a thumbs up. Also, hit the subscribe button if you're new to following the channel, and share the video to all your family and friends. And that way it will hit the algorithm to other Raider Nation like yourself. I want to say a special thanks to everyone who chimed in and supported the super chats and super stickers for this live stream. Let me just go ahead and break those down, people, for you. Thank you. On to Six Soldier. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. We all give a moment of silence for Mac Jones, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Also, thank you to Psycho Jackal and asking about the question on Josh Jacobs' status. Thank you, everyone, so much for tuning in to this live stream. I had a lot of fun. I hope you had a lot of fun. And again, if you're watching this post live stream, be sure to drop your comments. I get back to every single comment here on YouTube and on social media. So be sure to go ahead and do that. And I'll do my best to get back to you in a timely manner. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I had a lot of fun. I'll be back on tomorrow with another Locker Room Pulse update. Going to do a lot of player interviews and then hopping back on the live stream and giving you the 411 on all things silver and black. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good night. Beast Rider out.